Donald Trump's new Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, yesterday sent Australia another warning. Our government's target of slashing our emissions to zero net by 2050 is destroying our economy. Now, just last night, I showed you the head of BlueScope saying he'll move investments to the US, where power prices for a steelmaker in particular are half ours or even less. Now, one reason for that is this very same Chris Wright. He headed a hugely successful gas company that used fracking, a technology stupidly banned in Victoria, for instance, but which Wright proved was safe by drinking the fracking fluid used to fracture rocks and unlock gas deposits. Now, as Trump's energy chief, Wright last night gave this message to a London conference of the Alliance of Responsible Citizenship, where he was interviewed by Sky's Chris Uhlmann.
Net zero 2050 is a sinister goal. It's a terrible goal. It's both unachievable by impractical means, but the aggressive pursuit of it, and you're sitting in a country that has aggressively pursued this goal, has not delivered any benefits, but it's delivered tremendous costs. If you make energy more expensive and less reliable, as the United Kingdom has done over the last couple decades, you lower the standard of living of your population, shrink their opportunity set, and you simply export your industry.
Joining me from that conference is National Senator Matt Canavan, the former Resources Minister. Matt Canavan, good to see you. Is Chris Wright correct?
I think he's absolutely right, Andrew. Obviously, I've been opposed to net zero from the get-go, and the point Chris was making is it is a sinister goal because it hurts the poorest among us while giving benefit to the virtue signalling demands of the richest among us. And to my mind, that is sinister. We should have public policies that seek to lift the poorest among our society up and help make their lives easier. But what we've seen in our own country in Australia, and certainly here in the United Kingdom, is ever since our political betters and elites promised this fantastical net zero goal, people's lives have been made a lot worse. Energy prices have obviously skyrocketed. That is starting to flow through to the price of everything. Keep in mind that businesses in Australia use 4 times the electricity than households do. So you at your household level feel the impact of the net zero policies directly through your quarterly power bill. But in fact, your weekly shopping bill has even a greater impact because the higher energy prices involved in transporting groceries around the country, making groceries, keeping groceries cold, all those high energy prices flow through to your bill. And I think most Australians can see in the last couple of years, those bills have gotten a lot higher. So I believe one of the reasons I'm in politics is because I want to make people's lives easier. Net zero has made people's lives harder and harsher, and it hasn't improved anything in the world either from an environmental perspective, because of course countries like China, India, Indonesia are paying lip service at best to this net zero goal.
Well, you mentioned Indonesia. I mean, it's a perfect example, of course. Chris Wright was saying all you do with these targets is you're driving your businesses overseas. We lost our nickel industry to Indonesia in large part, which was using coal-fired power stations specifically built for it, using Chinese investment to get cheap power prices while we're destroying our coal-fired power stations and nickel couldn't compete. Gone. Why does an opposition leader, Peter Dutton, say exactly the same as you just said and as Chris Wright just said, the net zero target is destroying our economy, doing no good?
Well, look, Andrew, I can't give an insight into why people do other things. We are perhaps unfortunately in Australia stuck in a teal green vortex, especially with the prospect of a minority parliament within weeks and months, and that might be distorting things a little. But I don't know. I do think the vast majority of Australians here are turning against this agenda. The conversations I have with people are that they are most concerned about the cost of living. And if we want to do something about the cost of living, clearly we have to get energy prices down. And I fully support the idea of building nuclear power stations, but of course that's going to take a decade or so to do. We have a massive question about just keeping the lights on in the next few years, and we must keep our coal-fired power stations running in that interim period. But also, why aren't we actually building new coal-fired power stations? I mean, if China can build 2 a week at the moment, as they have been doing, And the Financial Times just reported this week that they are now building more coal-fired power stations than they have for a decade in China right now. If they can do that, why can't we build 2 or 3 in a few years? It won't blow the planet up. It may just, though, keep our lights on in Australia, save manufacturing jobs, and get the bills of average hardworking Australians down to the.
Yeah, and we might still have a nickel industry. Matt, running out of time a bit, but I wanted to give you the chance to show that we are nobler than a lot of global warming alarmists in the media in particular. So often, they jump on a hot day and say, well, there it is, proof of global warming. But we won't do that about the fact that parts of Victoria, Matt's gone. Well, let me continue the point. We are a bit better than that. At least I am now, because Matt's gone. We have had parts of Victoria now recording their coldest February night on record, okay, ever. And yet we will not say, hey, listen, that is proof that there is no global warming. In fact, there's global cooling. We don't do that because individual days do not necessarily prove a trend at all, okay? But I just want to tell you, hello, it's in fact not quite linear like people say. So there you go. But anyway, meanwhile, the scare continues. And anyway, I'm told that Matt is back. Matt, the coldest day in Victoria, February night forever. What does that tell you?
Well, mate, it's just as cold over here in London. Certainly no global warming here. We could do it here. In fact, here at the conference, the inside, even in the conference area, has been massively cold. And I think it's just been a lesson to everybody. If you shut down your coal-fired power stations like the UK has, you can't even heat conference centres anymore. It's so cold over here. Unbelievable. Isn't that unbelievable in February? But I'll tell you, that's weather, not climate, apparently. It's only when it's too hot that it's climate change.
Yeah, well, we, of course, and I appreciate the fact that you resisted the temptation to do what is so often done in the media and mislead people. Thank you so much for your time, Matt.